Hi, in this video we'll be looking at how to find the solution of an equation or how to solve an equation. Both things are the same question. If you're asked to solve an equation or if you're asked to find the solution of an equation, same thing. So what is a solution? Well, a solution is something that you put in place of the variable to make the entire statement true. Now, I could say I like the number 2. 2 is my favorite number. I want that to be the solution. Well, that's not going to work. Why? Because now this statement is not true. 2 plus 9 is not negative 3. So I'm going to get rid of that really quickly before someone thinks I'm crazy. Okay. So that's not the solution. So how have you been finding solutions in the past? My guess is that you've probably been maybe guessing and checking and seeing what number works, what number doesn't, and then finding the answer that way. That can work up to a certain point, but then these questions will start to get harder and harder. And we want to have a strategy that will work all the time. So what we'll be using is something called inverse operations. I'll write that down because it's kind of an important thing. All right, so inverse operations. So you know what an operation is, I think. Operations, addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. We've spoken about them before and they come up over and over and over. All right, so what is an inverse operation? An inverse operation is the opposite of an operation. So let's say adding, for example, is an operation. The inverse or the opposite of that operation is subtracting. So the opposite of adding is subtracting. The opposite of subtracting is adding. And that's important as we continue this video, so keep that in mind. All right, so now we're going to solve the equation x plus 9 is equal to negative 3. Our goal in life, or right now, our goal is to get this x by itself. We want to know what is x. X is equal to something. We don't know. And it's this pesky little plus 9 that's bothering us. We want to get rid of that plus 9. And the way that we can get rid of that plus 9 is to do the inverse of that. So right now 9 is being added. And what we can do to get rid of that 9 is subtract 9. But I can't just say, okay, I'm just going to take 9 away from one side just because I feel like. No, whatever I do to one side, I have to do to the other side of the equation. So I have to subtract 9 from that side as well to get an equivalent equation. All right, so now that I have 9 subtracted from both sides, what's going to happen is I'm going to get the x alone, which is what my goal in life was. All right, so x is equal to negative 3 minus 9. And so now we can just simplify that and we get that x is equal to negative 12. All right, so that's how you use inverse operation to solve an equation when adding or subtracting. Let's look at another quick example. Okay, so this example looks a little different, right? The variable is over here on this side and, it just looks weird, but not to fear. It's the same exact thing. Our goal right now is to get that y alone. And that pesky little negative 11 or minus 11, is in the way of having y alone. Y just is he's a loner. He hates this guy over here. So what we need to do is get rid of that minus 11. And we do that by using the inverse operation. So the inverse operation here is adding 11. That will get rid of that. But again, we can't just add 11 all willy-nilly to one side and then not to the other side. So we have to go ahead and add 11 to the other side as well. And then what we will get is that y is equal to 23 plus 11. And then we can finish it off and say y is equal to 34. And that's how you solve an equation using the inverse operations, adding or subtracting. Stay tuned for multiplication and division.